Hi, welcome to session on Introduction to Oracle Data Integrator 11G. In this video, we discuss about the basics of Oracle Data Integrator, the architecture of Oracle Data Integrator ODI 11G, and we also learn how to create a basic interface in ODI 11G. Let's begin with architecture of the ODI. ODI 11G has four components, that is designer, operator, topology manager, and security manager. Designer, as the name suggests, is a place where we design and develop the code. The smallest element in ODI is called as an interface. Interface is a place where we have source and target. We can have one source or more than one source in the source, and we can have physical target or temporary target in the target side. In the source, we can use various types. It could be a table, or it could be flat file, it could be Excel, it could be XML. We learn about the various types and how to use them in the upcoming session. The next component is operator. Operator is the place where we monitor the execution. Designer is the place where we develop and execute. Operator is the place where we monitor those executions. Then the topology manager. Topology manager is the place where we create the connections. We have a source and target. Those two should be connected to any RDBMS or to any file system. Topology is the place where we create those connections. Then the security manager, as the name suggests, all the security related things. It could be adding a user, removing the user, or giving some privileges to the users. All privileges management can be done in the security manager. All these four components are connected to repository. Repository can be mounted on database system. Let's see how to launch ODI Studio. Double click on ODI Studio to launch Oracle Data Integrator Studio, where we can see all the four components what we discussed just now. Connect to repository. We are connected to repository, are connected to this repository. There is a connection which is already created. I'm using it. It's connecting. Now we are connected to the repository. We can see the four components what we discussed: the designer, topology, operator, and security manager. Designer is for design and development, topology is for connections, operator is to monitor the execution, security is to add users, remove users, to manage privileges, etc. We learn more about these components going forward. Let's begin with designer. If you click on designer, we can see these four tabs here. One is projects. We don't have any projects here. Models. We have created one model here. Others. We have variables, user functions, and global markers. And we have solutions part. To create our interfaces, we need to begin with creation of one project. We can create project. Within that, we can have our interfaces. Interfaces are nothing but, as I said, are the smallest element in ODI where we can have source and target. We can have more than one source, but we can have one target. We can link the source columns from the source table to the columns in the target. Let's see how to create one project, new project. We click here, we have the options to create new project, import project, and to browse the versions. I will create one project. We give name to the project which we created. I give it ODI demo underscore project. We have save button here. Click on it to save. New project is created in the projects. I don't want this anymore here. Let me close it. Now, once the project is created, let's see what are components there within one project. We can see folders, we can see variables, sequences, user functions, knowledge modules, and markers. By default, there will be one project. We can create any number of projects here. We can add projects like this, right click, new project, new folder, or we can duplicate it also. We can rename the projects. Just click it to rename. Let me rename it to ODI demo folder. Save it. Within the project, we can have any number of folders. Let's expand the folder to see what is there inside the folder. Inside folder, we have packages, interfaces, and procedures. As I said, interface is the smallest element. We can create interfaces. Packages is the place where we can orchestrate more than one interface. We can have one interface or more than one interface. We learn about the packages in upcoming videos. In this session, we are concentrating on creation of interfaces. We also have variables, sequences, user functions, knowledge modules. The scope of all these components are for this particular project. For example, if you create a variable within this project and its scope is only for ODI underscore demo underscore project, that cannot be used outside of this particular project. Whereas we have others, we have global variables, global sequences, global user functions, and global markers. The scope of these components is the global. That means if you have more than one project, it can be used in any of those projects. The scope is not limited to any particular project. Whereas the variables or sequences or user functions what we create within project are limited to that particular project. We have knowledge modules. Knowledge modules are like very important components in Docker Data Integrator. We have 6 categories or 6 groups of knowledge modules. Each one we use for each purpose. If we expand, we can see those 6 types or 6 categories of knowledge modules. We have reverse engineering, that is RKM, which we use for reverse engineering. We have LKM, that is load knowledge module, which we use for loading. We have CKM, that is constraint knowledge module or control knowledge module, which we can use for constraint management. We have IKMs, that is integration knowledge module, which we can use for integration. We have JKM, which we can use for chain data capture. Then we have service KM, which we can use for web services. These are the 6 types. As of now, any basic interface we need to have LKM and IKM. In this session, we are concentrating only on LKM and IKM. Whenever you create a new project, these KMs will not be there. They will be empty. You can see no KMs are there. We need to import it from outside. Let me show how to import them. I have all the knowledge modules which are saved in this particular path. In this demo, I am using MS SQL as my source and Oracle as my target. So I need two knowledge modules in particular. One is LKM, that is, since I am using MS SQL, I use SQL to Oracle. Let me import that particular knowledge module, SQL to Oracle. Say OK. It is importing. This is the import report. This particular knowledge module is imported. Say close. Along with LKM, I also need IKM. So let me import IKM as well. Since I'm using MS SQL as my source, I use IKM SQL control append in this demo. As of now, we did not bother much about the details of the knowledge modules. Which knowledge module to use in what situation, we learn as we go forward. Once we are done with the importing of knowledge modules, let's create one basic interface. We expand the folder, you can see interfaces. Right click on interfaces, say new interface. We have to give the interface name. I give ODI underscore demo underscore interface. You can see these tabs here. Overview, currently we are in overview tab. We have mapping, quick edit, flow, controls, scenarios and execution. Once we are provided the name for the interface, we click on mapping. Mapping is the place where we select the source, target and map the source columns to target columns. We see two panels here. Left hand side is called as a source panel. Right hand side is called as a target panel. Source panel is a place where we drag and drop the source tables. Target panel is the place where we drag and drop the target data stores. Once we drag both source and target, we have to map the columns. The source and target tables are present in models. In ODI terminology, any component which contains the data, it could be source or target, it could be of any type, it could be RDBMS, it could be a file, it could be XML file, is called as a data store. The group of these data stores are called as model. We can have, for ease of using, we can group these data stores into models. For example, I can put all the Oracle tables in one model called Oracle. I can group all the flat files in one model called flat files. In this demo example, I am using MS SQL and Oracle. I am using Microsoft Server as my source. I am using Oracle tables as my target table. First, let's put the source, expand MS SQL. I have the tables named src underscore city, src underscore customer, etc. src stands for source. This naming convention is for ease of understanding. Let's click on the table. It's called as data store in Oracle terms. Drag all the way till the source panel and release. This table is now source table. On the target side, I want target table. Let me minimize this. Expand Oracle. Click on target customer. TRG underscore customer is a target table I'm using. Click it the same way as you did for source. Drag it all the way and release it on target. ODI has a feature called auto mapping. In this feature, if the name of the source column and the name of the target column are same, then ODI has the intelligence to map those two columns. For example, we have deer is one of the column here. If you have a same column on the target with the name deer, ODI will automatically map deer to the deer column in the target. I will say yes. You can see deer is mapped to deer column in the target. Since the names are same, it's mapped. Address is mapped to address column in the source. To know which column is mapped to which column in the source or target, you have to click on that particular column. The mapped column will be highlighted on the other side. Say if you click on phone, you can see phone is highlighted here. I have cust ID, cust underscore ID and cust ID here. Since the names are not matching, they are not mapped. So let me manually map cust ID from the source to the cust ID in the target. I leave these columns unmapped for now. We map it later. Once this is done, let's save it. We are using MS-SQL as a source and Oracle as a target. Flow, then we have to click on the flow tab here to select the knowledge modules. We select IKM and LKM in this flow. Since I am using MS-SQL to Oracle, I am using SQL to Oracle as a LKM, which is already populated. These are the options which are available. I leave them as it is. Let's also select IKM. IKM, I am using SQL control append. We do control append in this example. We can see various options available. Insert, commit, flow control. I don't want to do any flow control as of now. I set it to false. I also don't want to do any static control. I set it to false. Then we have truncate option. Truncate, if you set it to true, every time the target, in this example TRG underscore customer, will truncate it and load it. I set it to true so that I don't have any integrity violations. Let's save it. Now this mapping is ready for execution. TRG customer is the target. Let's see what we have in the TRG underscore customer table. Start from TRG underscore customer is the table. We have 5 records. We truncate the table. Anyways, we have set the truncate option on our mapping. It will truncate and load. Still, I will manually truncate the table. truncated should show 0 records. Currently, there are 0 records in TRG customer. Let's test our code. We start execution. Here is the green arrow. If you click on that, it will start the execution. Click on execution. Leave the up values as it is, default values. Click OK. Once we start the execution on the designer, operator is the place where we monitor the execution. We can see the executions date wise, agent wise, session wise, status for all executions are users. Now let's see by date wise. Expand it. This is the refresh button. We can refresh the operator log every time. Now we can also have auto refresh where we can set the timer. Say if you set 5, that means it will auto refresh every 5 seconds. If you set it to 3 seconds and so on. Expand it. This is my execution. It's executed. It says 51 records are inserted. Let's check if it's correct. We had 0 records earlier. It has inserted 51 records. This means this code is working properly and it is inserting 51 records. Let's see the data. Select star from TRG customer. These are the records. You can see customer ID which is mapped here, which is mapped. Customer name we have not mapped. It is coming null, and these columns which are not mapped. Let's try to map the unmapped ones. See, customer name is not mapped. We click on it. The mapping properties for that particular column will get opened here. Sometimes if it's not opened, if at all it is not, the properties is not coming, then we can click on view property inspector to open it. Click on customer name. We can directly write the expression here. Click on this pencil button to open the expression editor. Since it's the customer name, I want to use first name as the customer name. Apply. Okay, save it. Age range, you can use age directly here. Salesperson, I use salesperson ID. Creation date, we can use this date. Click on save to save that particular. I can use this date. Save it. Let's save the entire interface. Execute it. Leave the values as it is. Click on OK. Refresh the log to see. This is 51 records inserted again. Now we see the results. Select star from TRG_customer. You see customer name which was empty, it was null earlier, it is populated with the first name. Age range, age, salesperson, sysdate. All these columns are populated. I want to do a small modification here. We have customer name. I want to use customer name as first name concatenated with the last name. Let's see how to make the change. I can close other tabs. I can right click I can say close others. Customer name, as of now we are using only first name. Let's concatenate with, we want to use tilde symbol here. We want to concatenate it with the last name. We can also make any other modifications, like if you want names in uppercase, we can use upper of first name. We can use any string operations here. Save. Let's execute to see the results. Okay. Let's refresh it. Got executed. We see only customer name is there, that is the first name. We see if our code is working. Now it is concatenation of first name and last name. We can see this tilde symbol in between, and also all the names are in uppercase. This means our code is working fine. Now if you want to add some other logic, say in dear, if you want to add some logic, I want the requirement where I want to have Mr. If the value of the deer is 0, then I want to make it as Mr. If it is 1, then Mrs. And if it is 2, then Miss. For that I want to use one case statement, write case statement, case when deer is equal to, we can see those values here. We can say 0, 1, 2 here. I want to use, you can say there are 3 distinct values. Select distinct deer from prg underscore customer zero, 1, 2. If it is 0, then I want to use when we pick here from the source, search the customer source, I want to pick here. If it is 1, then I want this when it's equal to 2, then I want to use, let me get the case statement here, apply, okay. Save. Every time I save the execute on location here, because it depends on the syntax what you select. So we learn more about that in next session. As of now, we remember staging area means I have Oracle here. That means whichever the syntax I am using is Oracle syntax. So I am selecting staging area. Again, this interface is ready for execution. You can see what we have earlier. We have deer column with 0, 1, 2. We run this mapping and see the changes. Refresh, executed. Let's see the result. You can see the changes here. You see, instead of 0, 1, 2, I am using Mr., Mrs. and Miss. This is how we can apply the logic in our interface. Now let's make one more modification to this interface. I want to filter out some records. As of now, I'm inserting 51 records. I want to have records where customer ID is less than 106. How to apply filter like this? We can achieve it by applying filter in our interface. To apply filter to any of the columns, what all we need to do is click on that, drag it and put it outside. When you can see this filter symbol appears, you click on it, we can give the filter condition here. I give the condition since I want only those records which are less than 106. I give this condition. I want only those records where customer ID is less than 106. Save it. Save the mapping. Execute it. Session started. Put operator. Refresh it. We can see the source in the source table. We can see the data. Since I'm using SRC customer, right click, I can view the data here. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 records, 6 records which are less than 106. So as for our filter, I should get only these records, 6 records. Let's see the results. Put operator. See, refresh it. I can see 6 records inserted. Let's see the results. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 records which are inserted. This is how we can apply the filter. Let me close others. Designer. Like this, we can create any number of interfaces. In this, if you want to see the interface which is already created, it will be here. We can also execute this particular interface by right clicking on it. We can see the execute. We can say click OK to start the execution. In the operator, we can see by date wise, or we can also see users, status, or execution. All execution. All execution means it will show all the executions irrespective of the dates, users, or status of the execution. This is my last execution. If you expand the execution, we can see the steps. This is how we can expand it. What are the steps which are getting executed within the interface? You can see each step. You see it is creating some work tables and loading into work tables. This is the primary difference between any other conventional ETL tool and the ODI. The reason ODI is called as ELT tool, it is extracting, it is loading, and it is transforming. You can see that's happening here. It will create some work table. During the process of ELT, it will create some temporary work tables. It will use it for its data transformations and data loading. Then it will load the data into actual table. We can also see the code of each step. To see the code, double click on it. You can see the code. This is nothing but your SQL code. Knowing these steps is very important for our execution. If we have introduced any error, we can debug it by seeing the code. For example, let me introduce one error here. so that I can demonstrate how to do the debugging. Here I go to case statement. Instead of case I use say I don't use end, I use apply. We save it, execute it. I expect this code to fail. Go to operator. You can see the red symbol. This means this particular code is failed. Let's go to that particular step. See, it has a failure while inserting the rows. You can see say from keyboard not found where expected. Since it's SQL, it will show this error. You can see the code here. Since that case statement is not proper, it is erroring out. You can see that in the code. Let me come back and fix it. Have to use case, have to use and save it, save the mapping and execute again. Refresh it. We see it is executed. This is how we create one basic interface in ODI, and we also saw how to create filters in interface. We also saw how to read the operator log in ODI. Through this demo, we learned to create one basic interface and execution of it. Thank you.